The Young and the Restless Spoilers. The pale light of dawn filtered through the hospital curtains, casting soft shadows on the white walls. Lucy stirred on the bed, her body aching with every movement. The accident had been severe, and the memories of that night were still a blur. She could recall the screech of tires, impact, and then the blackness that had swallowed her whole. But now, as she lay in the sterile environment of the hospital, all she could think about was Faith. Faith, who had been her tormentor, her constant reminder of rejection and pain. Faith, who had made it clear that Lucy's attempts to forge a friendship were unwanted. And yet, despite it all, Lucy couldn't help but long for Faith's acceptance, for a connection that went beyond the superficial. But that night, her longing had turned into something destructive. In her despair, Lucy had turned to alcohol, hoping to drown out the rejection, the loneliness. Consequences had been devastating. The door creaked open and Faith walked in, her face pale and drawn. She looked at Lucy with a mix of guilt and sorrow, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Lucy," she began, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry." Lucy blinked, trying to make sense of the emotions swirling inside her. She had never expected this. Faith, the girl who had always seemed so distant, so indifferent, was now standing before her, pleading for forgiveness. "I'm sorry for how I've treated you," Faith continued, her voice breaking. "I was cruel, and I pushed you away when all you wanted was to be my friend. And now, because of me, you're lying here." Lucy stared at her, the anger and bitterness she had harbored for so long beginning to thaw. "It wasn't just you," she whispered, her voice hoarse from the injuries and the emotions she had bottled up for so long. "I made a choice that night. I was the one who drank, who got behind the wheel. But I drove you to it." Faith interrupted, her eyes wide with desperation. "I made you feel like you were worthless, like you didn't matter. And that's not true, Lucy. You do matter. You're a good person, and I was too blind to see it." Lucy felt a tear slip down her cheek, weight of Faith's words sinking in. She had wanted to hear those words for so long, but now that they were finally being spoken, she wasn't sure how to react. Could she really forgive Faith? Could they truly move past everything and start over? "Faith," Lucy began, her voice steadying. "Why are you here? Is it because you feel guilty? Or is it because you actually want to be friends?" Faith hesitated, her eyes dropping to the floor. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "I mean, I do feel guilty. But I also realized how much I've been missing. You've always been there, trying to be a friend, and I pushed you away. I guess I was scared." "Scared of what?" Lucy asked, her heart pounding in her chest. Was there more to this than she had thought? Faith took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Lucy's with a vulnerability Lucy had never seen before. "Scared of getting close to someone," she confessed. "Scared of being vulnerable. And scared of what it might mean if I let myself care about you the way you care about me." Lucy felt her breath catch in her throat. Was Faith implying what she thought she was? Possibility of there being something more than friendship between them had crossed her mind more than once, but she had always dismissed it as wishful thinking. Could Faith be feeling the same way? "Faith," Lucy said carefully, "are you saying, do you think there could be something more between us?" Faith looked away, face flushing with embarrassment. "I don't know," she said again, her voice small. "I've never thought about it like that before. But when I saw you in that car, when I thought I might lose you, it made me realize how much you mean to me." Lucy felt a warmth spread through her chest, feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. "I care about you too, Faith," she admitted, voice soft. "Maybe more than I should, but I don't want to force you into anything you're not ready for." Faith nodded, her eyes filled with uncertainty. "I just want to take it one step at a time," she said. "I want us to be friends first, real friends. And if there's something more, we'll figure it out together." Lucy smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. "I'd like that," she said. "I'd like that a lot." As they sat together in the quiet of the hospital room, an understanding passed between them. They both knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be doubts, insecurities, and possibly even heartache. For the first time in a long time, Lucy felt hope. She and Faith were finally on the same page, and whatever the future held, they would face it together. Meanwhile, outside the room, Sharon and Heather stood side by side, watching their daughters with tears of relief in their eyes. They had both been through so much, but seeing Lucy and Faith reconcile brought them a sense of peace they hadn't felt in years. "I think they're going to be okay," Sharon said quietly, her voice filled with emotion. Heather nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Yes," she agreed, "I think so too." As the two women walked away, leaving Lucy and Faith to their moment of reconciliation, they couldn't help but feel that this was the beginning of something new. Their daughters had faced a trial by fire, and though they had emerged scarred, they had also emerged stronger. And as they continued down the hospital corridor, they knew that this experience had brought them closer together as well. Back in the room, Lucy and Faith were deep in conversation, talking about everything and nothing. The tension that had once defined their relationship was gone, replaced by a mutual understanding and a tentative sense of trust. They were not yet the best of friends, but they were on their way. "Let's leave the past behind," Lucy said softly, her eyes meeting Faith's. "Let's start fresh and see where this goes." Faith smiled, a genuine smile that lit up her face. "I'd like that," she said. And with that, they began their journey, hand in hand, towards a future that was uncertain but filled with possibilities. It was a journey that would test them both, but they were ready to face it together, whatever it might bring. As the days turned into weeks, Lucy and Faith grew closer, their bond deepening with each passing moment. There were still challenges, still moments of doubt, but they faced them together, their friendship growing stronger with each trial. And as they looked towards the future, they knew that whatever happened, they would always have each other. Because in the end, it wasn't about labels or expectations. It was about connection, about finding someone who understood you, flaws and all, and loving them anyway. For Lucy and Faith, that was enough.